And we are live! Hello! And welcome to the City of Heavenly Fire live show discussion. I am Kat, this is my channel here, and now let's introduce our lovely guest today.
Hello, I'm Christine from Pullman's Books.
Hi, I'm Jessica from Prices Wong.
And I'm Reagan from Peru's Project.
All right, I have opened up the Q&A app, so if you guys have questions, you can go in that. It's like in the bottom left corner, I think. You can click on that and ask us questions about the book. But let's just start off by saying our general thoughts. So what did you guys think generally about this final installment in the Mortal Instrument series?
I generally was very happy with it. Kathy knows how to end a series and start a new one at the same time. So I thought it was just what I expected it to be. Wonderful.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I loved it. I still am someone that, I don't know why, but I just love the Infernal Devices trilogy so much that I think I still kind of love it a little bit more, but I was overall really happy with like how it ended and just everything. There were a couple things at the end that I was a little like I wanted more, but I know she's gonna write more, so it's fine, like with the fairies and stuff. But I mean, we'll get to that later.
Yeah, I also really liked it. I think it might have been my favorite of the Mortal Instruments. This or City of Glass, but I read City of Glass so long ago. It's hard for me to like compare. The Infernal Devices are still my favorite, but in terms of Cassandra Clare can finish a series up and write an epilogue, let me just say. She should
Yes.
write books, just epilogues.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I loved it. I thought it was a fantastic conclusion to the series, and also like weaving in other series like the Infernal Devices and like the setup for the Dark Artifices. I think I still prefer the Infernal Devices, and Clockwork Princess is like my favorite Cassandra Clare book ever, but this one was wonderful and I loved it.
Yeah, I think most people prefer the Infernal Devices now. Like just because like I don't know, there's something there like you feel they're better.
They're just better. And I mean, like, I could definitely, for sure I know that, because when I was reading this, my most excited moments all had to do with the Infernal Devices. Any reference to the Infernal Devices, I didn't cry to any logical thing. I cried to the most illogical references ever, meaning
Any reference to Will?
Briefly mentioned Will Herondale, I started to cry.
Yeah. Literally, like, the second they mentioned that Jem and Tessa were at the, like, she noticed them, I was like, oh,
No, but at the end, Christine, when they were like, wow, Jace plays the piano so well, I was like, ah!
See, for me, it was earlier on. By the way, there's going to be a lot of spoilers in this live show. So if you haven't read the book, don't watch this. Go read this book and also the Infernal Devices, because we can't fully discuss this book without also discussing that series. So just FYI. But for me, it was when Brother Zachariah became you-know-who again. And he was talking to Jace, and he was like, you thought of me? Like, you were wondering if I was okay? And this was during the BEA week, so I was awake by myself in the hotel room with everyone else sleeping, and I'm just crying by myself at 4 in the morning.
Yeah, that was a teary part. Also, I see someone upping a question, were you disappointed that the Isabel theory was not true? And we don't know if it was not true, so stop saying that. I got that before, like, it's not true. They didn't even talk about it.
It could still be true. This could totally come up in the Dark Artifices. Like, just because it wasn't addressed doesn't mean it's not true. It could still totally be true.
Yeah, and Cassie said that we're going to see the survivors from this war in the next book, so we very well might have a point of view from, like, Simon, or a point of view from, like, someone over there, which is cool.
Speaking of the Infernal Devices and like how I think all four of us super excited to like see them come into this. I was freaking out at the end when they said they were going to Los Angeles. I was like, oh my gosh, because I know that's where the next trilogy is set. I was like, oh my gosh, thank goodness we're gonna get more of them. I mean, I'm assuming we are. They're in the same like city, I'm assuming, but
Yeah, she's like his only living relative.
Yeah.
So, like, very cool.
Seriously, like mentioning like the Emma character present in this book, I really like that Cassandra Clare like had all of those chapters, so we really got to know the newest main character in the next series. Additionally, I feel like I'm really gonna like Emma because this is the first time we have a female lead who's actually a badass from the start. Not like a useless Clary who's like, I don't know how to do anything. I like to draw. Look at my Steely. You know what I mean? Like she's like has a bow and arrow. Does she have a bow and arrow? Maybe
No,
she
she has
does.
a sword.
But she
yeah.
really is like the female Jace, and
Yeah.
it's dick. Like she's a badass.
Yeah, I'm like, finally.
I found it like so funny how like Cassandra Clare like set this up in the book. Like immediately Clary likes her because she's female Jace. It's really funny to me.
now. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, I was just saying I hope she's extra sassy.
Oh. Yeah, I really like her character. I like that it started off like right away. I was like, oh, I'm gonna really like her. But what do you guys think? Like, you have read the synopsis for the new trilogy with her. I mean, haven't all four of you? So I think it was really interesting that we got her like younger, and we saw like Julian and her like their relationship, and now you're just gonna be like, it's gonna be so much more just like emotional whenever they are like. Oh, it's gonna be so good. I can't wait.
I knew it was gonna happen. I knew they were going to become parabody, but as it was happening, I was like, no, don't do it. You love it. Don't do it.
I was wondering with the new series, like just with the announcement before I read this, I was like, I wonder how she's gonna make like the angsty love relationship, because she did the thing with Jason Clary, she did the thing with Jem and blah blah blah. So I'm like, how is she gonna make something new? And then I read this, I was like, oh, that's how she's gonna get us.
Yeah, as soon as it's like when she was signing, or she's like, we're gonna be Parabati. It was like, yeah, this is gonna be fun.
So young to choose Parabati. Have you thought of that? Like, they're making a huge life decision. They said besides like getting married, that's like the biggest in like the Shadowhunter world. I'm like, they're so young. Like, no,
they're getting married though. It's like, because it's like forever. Like, you can still get divorced in the Shadowhunter world. You can't divorce your parabody. Like, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, like
so many examples of like an amazing, partners like between like Jem and like Will, for example, and then think of like Luke and think of like how that turned out. Like, there's so many different examples of like Parabati, relationships.
Hear about Luke and Valentine's relationship more. I feel like because we only see them really like as enemies, and to hear that, I forgot that they were Parabati. Like, that's how like it was kind of just like set aside, but that's a big deal, and it was just kind of brushed over.
I think it'd be cool. This is totally, I don't know, she might do this one day, but I don't think she's doing it now. I think it'd be really cool, like how we all want a prequel Harry Potter series, I think it'd be cool to have, like, the originals, like Clary's mom, like Valentine, Luke, when they're all, like, their age. So you kind of...
I feel like that might be this secret 5th series in the Shadowhunter world she's working on, because we know about the Dark Artifices, and...
No, I thought we knew it was the
Wicked
Powers. Yeah, but it's the Wicked Powers, I thought.
The Last Hours?
No. The last one.
Oh, there is a solidified last one?
I thought, that's what I heard, that it was like the Academy in Idris.
Oh, I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, I didn't know about that one either. I would like to see Valentine and Luke and Joselyn and Maurice and that whole thing when they were younger. I would like to see the circle.
Yeah. Well, wait, do we know when the what you just said, Christine, is taking place? Because didn't all those people go to the Academy?
Yeah, it takes place after like this one. I thought.
Okay.
After the Dark Artifices.
Well, maybe she'll write 6 series.
Supposedly, it's like Tivy and the babies.
Clary and Jason.
900 of the Blackthorn children.
Yes. I don't know if this is real now, but I feel like Natasha told me. She's pretty on top of this. I don't know. I don't remember.
We'll do some research and find out later.
Yeah.
Let's move on to some of these questions that have been voted up. Okay. Here's one that's kind of fun. Please explain how you felt about the scene where Simon got drunk on the vampire blood and was yelling to Isabel.
That was the best.
That was fantastic.
I was so scared about what the hell was in that because I didn't want him to drink from whatever Raphael gave him in the first place because like he wants you to die. Like I don't want you drinking what he gives you. But
This like story was so conflicting with Raphael because it was like you learn about with like Magnus how he saved his life and then the whole part where they're like kidnapped and then he's supposed to kill Magnus and you just like find out so much more about him in this book and I don't know, I had some mixed feelings about him, but no, he definitely like when Simon was like, oh, you're jealous and all this stuff and he just like slams the door and he like walks down and what was it, Alec Isabel, her dad came out and started screaming at him. That was terrible.
Yeah.
That was funny.
that was
My favorite Simon scene is still the leather pants scene.
Yeah, I love that. I can't wait for the fan art. I want the fan art. I want to see that.
Wait, what did Robert say? Is that when she called him a lying bastard? Like, is that the part?
That happened before. Robert was just like, that was when he was suspecting. He's like, is there something going on between you two?
Yeah.
And Bill's just like, no, get out of here, Simon. Leave.
That was the best.
But yeah, I was in the same position. Like, I didn't want him to drink what it was from Raphael. Like, I thought it was going to be so much worse. I didn't know it was just drunk blood and, like, he was going to get, like, drunk from it. I was like, oh, God, Simon's dying, poisoned. Simon is having another near-death experience. What's new?
Like,
Yeah, you'd think they would like check the blood before they just like disperse that out to like the vampire house and stuff.
the thing is, what the hell did
but
they
like
get it?
Christine,
Did they get like
Yeah.
a drunk person to donate blood? Like I don't know.
Probably.
Maybe they did. Maybe they have that as like an option for fun. Like drink some blood of a drunk person and get drunk while you're at it. Like woohoo!
God.
Party! You know, like, I mean, how are they supposed to, like, loosen up? I mean, maybe they just get vodka and inject it into the blood bag. Because that would, like, be the sort of the same thing. Maybe not. But that's how they loosen up to have a party. They get humans drunk, and then they drink their blood. Come on. Duh.
Freaking weird and
Christine mentioned, I just watched your book review today, and you mentioned how many times Simon kept like getting so hungry or thirsty or whatever you call it. And I was like, why don't you just like fix? I mean, I understand they're under a lot of stress. There's a lot of stuff going on. He's not constantly like, let's eat. But it just seemed like, I don't know, over and over. And it was creepy how they talk about like his veins were like black or whatever, like standing out. Yeah, I don't know. I was actually
But
like,
I felt like a lot of priorities of them.
Is that frozen?
what? Sorry, I kind of cut out. Shoot.
Oh.
No, is Kat frozen? She's been frozen on my computer for a little
Yeah, she's
bit.
like-
Frozen on mine too. Oh
Yeah.
no.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Anyway, sorry, you were saying.
I have it. I was actually posting
She'll
like
come
some of my favorite lines on Twitter, and that was one of them. Whenever he was screaming, like, he was like, I shall win your favor, and then she's like, is he drunk? And all that. It was best. So
Yeah,
If we're just gonna talk-
I was gonna pull it up, but
if we're just going to talk about good Simon scenes, what about the Lord Montgomery scene? And then Alec, I just love all the times Alec walked in on people.
Yeah, the Alec walking in on people joke was great.
Just like,
well, the first time I think it was Alex's room. So
Yeah. Okay, I was really scared that he was gonna like take a walk and find Jason Clary like in the game. Because like usually those things.
but
don't
of
come
course, like interrupted
free,
Simon.
you know, like so we had two, and I was waiting for the third one.
third time's the charm.
And then Alex was like, oh my gosh.
That would have made that scene like the greatest. It would have made it the greatest because I already was laughing my ass off while reading that scene. And then that too. Can we just talk about that scene? Because I just need to like let my feels out. Okay. So I don't know about you guys, but when it was happening, like when things were starting to get hot and heavy, I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess they're obviously gonna finally have sex. But then I was like, wait, is he not gonna use a condom? Like, is Cassie Clare gonna go there? Like, is he not gonna? And then of course he like reaches out and like, oh, okay, dude, you're full of heavenly fire before you get this freaking demon realm, and you're like, let me just pack like, food, daggers, condom just in case. Like, what the hell?
No,
Where are
like-
your priorities?
But like when you think about it, Jace is the kind of guy that always has a condom on him.
Yeah, he's like those hair and
I
stills, right?
I just imagine him like getting his wallet out of like his tight Shadowhunter pants, like pulling out demon. Ugh.
Oh, good. Is there?
Cat.
I think Cat just. Yay, Cat's back!
Yay.
I'm back. My internet is the worst.
Oh no.
That
That was
All right.
we were just talking about the condom scene.
Yeah,
you know.
my favorite.
It is a very good one. I started laughing so hard when that happened. I was like, wait, like I couldn't continue reading because I was like thinking, how did he think to pack this? Like, was there like a checklist when you're packing to go to the hell dimension, like condoms, just in case?
Like, the place they're all gonna die. Why not?
It's only one thing, but at the time he was full of heavenly fire. He couldn't even touch anyone.
Yeah,
let alone
like it wasn't even an
penetrate
idea.
someone.
Well, just in case they solve that problem.
Yeah, he was ready, I guess.
Scared. I mean, I guess he thought correct because there was a waterfall in that cave, and that just screamed sexy times.
Doing the next question.
All right, yeah, let's do theories for the dark artifices. Okay, my favorite theory for this is that Sebastian got the Sealy Queen pregnant, and her demon spawn is gonna be the new villain.
Yeah, he's gonna be the Hitler of World War II.
I did not even think of that until I watched Christine's video, and now it's all I can think about, and I'm freaked out because I didn't think of that before. Like I thought we were done with that. I thought that this was mostly just gonna be focusing on like her journey with Emma, with like her family, like trying to figure out like
focus on that
what
too.
happened.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
think
don't know. Did you guys have the like leaf at the end of the book that showed like the little preview, right? Okay.
No,
I'm asking because what's that?
Wait, you had a leaf?
Sorry,
or
like my internet.
Yeah, it looks like this.
Oh, this leaf! Oh, I never even looked at it.
Yeah, it's the note. I think the Dark
Yeah.
Artifices is going to be her with the hunt. Like, she's going to try to, like, sneak and get What's-His-Face back from the hunt, so she's going to do all the fairy lore that she's really not touched on. I think that's what's going to be.
Yeah.
She doesn't like writing fairies, though. Why would she do this?
I don't even really like it.
Probably Black peer pressured her into it.
Well, what do you think the other one's going to be, though? The one set in the 20s that's, like, following the Herondales that they also, like, reference?
I think it's the spiral, the warlock spiral thing. Like, I feel like that's really going to play.
I feel like that's going to come into play. Also, though, did you read the short story from Magnus's point of view that had the characters in it?
I haven't read any of them yet. Any of the Magnus things.
I haven't read them all.
This one, it's called The Midnight Air. Read this one. I forget everyone's name and what everyone is, but it looks like a new villain has been introduced. And yeah, and Will's son is a total pain in the ass. Like he was just like he was
They
at a
talked
bar.
about. Wasn't it Magnus that was
He was
talking
like,
about?
I'm sorry?
No,
Yeah,
I
Magnus
was. It wasn't there a part when like, yeah, at the wedding, like he was talking about like, oh, I remember so. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Really quick. You were talking about the end of the book. Did you guys hear about the comic? Did you see that online? How like the UK versions had the comic of the wedding?
I haven't seen it yet. I have to look at
I
it.
haven't seen it either. I'll probably cry, so I was waiting it out.
Well, I was on Instagram and someone posted. I think I was on like Raylene's Instagram or something. Like she had a picture and someone posted like they're from the UK and they posted a comment like, oh, I love the comic at the end. I was like, what comic? And then I looked it up and it was like only in the UK versions and it's like a comic of Jem and Tessa.
Yeah.
And Will's in it.
Yeah.
I thought it was of Will and Tessa getting married.
No, it was Jem and Tessa's wedding.
Jem and Tessa's wedding.
I don't care about their wedding nearly as much.
I know. But
It was like 6 pages and and Will's like there in spirit, and like yeah. Anyways, I just wanted to make sure you guys knew about it so you can look it up on the internet because you need to see it.
Will was there in spirit at the epilogue, I was like dying. I was just all the tears when she was like, I would think that he's here looking down at us and he's happy, and I was like, stop.
Well, basically, whenever I told you at lunch or whatever, I was like, all the feels in this book are TID feels, and it's totally true. Like, literally, they would, like, he could mention anything about him in passing, and I would just immediately start crying, like, without
Reagan, because you said that, I was so afraid Jem was gonna die. I was so scared the whole time. I was like, I hate that you said that. I can't do anything.
No, like, when I really mentioned by that, like, nothing, like, major happened. I really meant that, like, all my feels were really over-exaggerated and, like, not even that important, but that was, like, all the feels I had.
Yeah,
Like, at the very end, when... Well, okay, the whole time in this book, I thought Magnus was gonna die. I was really scared about that. I really thought he was gonna die. I thought he was gonna do the whole, oh, I've lived long enough, blah, 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 and I was not happy about it.
Started to do at the end.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, I saw this coming, And then when it switched to Simon, I was like, oh, thank God. And I didn't care. Like, I was sad for Simon, but I also would rather have Magnus than Simon. So it was like a trade-off, you know? To me, I'm a horrible person.
It worked out in the end. Like, Simon named his band The Mortal Instruments, and that allowed him to, like, be brought back into the fold.
That also, I was crying so hard.
I started crying pretty hard at that because I didn't really like Simon in like the first book, and I remember I was like talking to you, Christine, or something. You're like, well, he gets better, and then in the second book I started to like him, and I really like Simon now, and I was just like so upset because I know that he was like happy with like his mom and all this stuff, but when Clary called him, and then when she went, I was just like, no, like I can't do this, and then it was just so emotional. Oh my gosh, I was like, why would she do this to us?
Yeah,
and then like she was dead. Yeah.
I don't know, when it happened, I had faith that she was going to pull, because she's too good at happy endings. The whole time, and it happened when he's like, oh, I'll give up his memories or whatever. I was like, well, he's no longer a vampire. Why would she do that? I'm like, I think she's doing something else. And then when you found out that he is now freaking going to be a shadow hunter, I was like, yeah, of course.
It's awesome. Crazy because that was foreshadowed from the very first frickin' book. Like, it's right in there. They're talking about ascending, and he's like, what would happen if I drank from the cup? And he's like, well, Trace is like, well, it doesn't work on anyone. You probably die because you haven't had the proper training. Like, but it's in the first book.
That's awesome.
That's great. Yeah, there's so much, like, little foreshadowing and, like, hints that you can really spend hours just looking through the books trying to connect things. Like, that's what Christine and I were doing when we were coming up with the Isabel theory. We were, like, just looking through all the books for any mention of, like, foreshadowing or anything.
And it's awesome because Simon never, like, wanted to be a vampire. Like, he never wanted that. So that's what's awesome at, like, how this is going. So, I don't know. When will we see him again, though? I think she mentioned that they might be really small parts. And like Los Angeles, like I think it's not like focused on them anymore, obviously, but I think they might be small parts. Maybe, I don't know.
Short stories with Simon.
Yeah, and I think we will get quite a bit because, like, in this book, Emma was only supposed to have like a small part, but we actually saw quite a lot of her. And
that's true.
I feel like we'll get quite a lot of Simon and Izzy's birth secrets and a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, because like they know each other. The thing is, she introduced Emma into their lives, so they're like intertwined now. So good stuff.
Okay, I've selected a new question here. What did you think of Alex Sass?
He like grew. Yeah, I loved him in this book. I really did.
Yeah, I didn't like him as a character until this book. Like
last book, he was so annoying and like just shut up, Alex.
Yeah, because he was always.
This one.
Yeah, I think he completely like redeemed himself in my eyes because before he was kind of immature and annoying, but in this book, like the way he handled that first conversation with Magnus. I mean, aside from all the crazy calling and sending his friends to like talk to him, but when they had that conversation, he's like, "You've never really opened up to me. Like, we both made mistakes. Like, this is a two-way thing that we got to work out. And I was like, wow, Alec, you really matured here.
Yeah.
And then he had all the great sassy lines. It was wonderful.
Yeah, and like someone had asked me, because I've openly talked about how I do not like Alec, like in past videos, and like somebody asked me like, why didn't you like Alec? Like really was seriously like, you know, concerned, like, why don't you like him? And I was like, well, he's always rude and mean and grumpy, and so they were like, well, you gotta understand where he's coming from, like, you know, like he was closeted gay and they don't accept him. But the thing is, like, even with it's not right for him to take it out on everyone else, like, and be mean to people. Like, he was mean.
Yeah. No, he was. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I have to say, in the book overall, I felt all the characters became a lot more mature. Maybe not Jace, because Jace, that would be boring if Jace became mature. But, like, Clary especially, in all the books, Clary has always annoyed me so much, because she's that type of female heroine who, like, thinks she's helping. Like, she's really trying to help, but she always just makes everything worse. You know what I mean? Like, she's just not helpful, and she's just stupid. She doesn't realize it. Or this book, I actually felt like she was much more mature, like her voice was more mature. Just, I appreciated that, and I don't know why all of a sudden, but I liked it.
But they were a team. She finally, like, became a shadow hunter.
Yeah.
Like,
far less communication issues in this book. Like, in all the previous books, there's these little communication issues where it's like, just talk it out and all your problems will be solved. Like, the fourth one didn't really have any of those frustrating moments where it's like, just talk to each other. They were talking to each other.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, like,
sorry.
Go ahead, Jess. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, yeah, the fourth one is, like, that was one of my biggest pet peeves, was I was just like, if you just talk to one another, you will figure this out, just shut up. But one thing I was going to say, like, Reagan mentioned Jace, the thing that I did notice with him, like, maturing and stuff, like, how he chose, like, he like, accepted the Herondale name, and that part was just, like, so, I don't know. But,
yeah, I cried.
That was one part. That was important for me.
Wait. Yeah. When they went to the Herondale house and they were like, we'll live here one day, and I was like, you're going to have little babies.
I know. Going back to, like, the Clary maturing thing, I think that really, like, changed in City of Lost Souls, because we had that one scene, remember when she fought the demon with Jace and she, like, finally, like, felt her shadow hunterness kicking in?
Yeah.
Like, since then, she's been, like, a lot more kick-ass, and it's been great.
A lot less useless.
Yeah.
This line on Alec is, do you guys remember it? Whenever Jace and Alec are talking, he's like, are you mad at me and all this stuff? And he was talking about when they first got together, and he's like, Jace's like, I grew on you, though. And he's like, eventually, like moss or a skin disease. And Jace loved me. I was like, it's such a gross, like, I don't know. I just love them so much. And then someone posted right underneath, so much sass, which was that exact, like, comment. But yeah, there was a lot of really good lines.
Yeah, I loved the Simon as a vampire feeding off of Jace and Alec lines, like where they're like, it was kind of hot. Like, it wasn't hot. It was. I felt something.
Yeah.
That was so funny. I love. Wasn't when Jace, like, not Jace, when Simon, because he was trying to remember things, like he couldn't recall. Wasn't at the end, didn't Jace bring it up to him, and he was, am I making that up?
No,
when
he brought it up. Simon brought it up. He was like, did I, like, break it from you? And he's like, of all the things to remember, you remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
I don't even remember. I actually don't even remember that scene. That was how long ago I read that book. I don't even remember Jace. Like,
It's in book 2. It's like after Simon's throat gets cut open and he, like, literally.
Oh, that was terrible.
Is it in the ship?
Yeah, it was
in the ship. It's like on one of the railway things. Okay. Like, I remember very vividly, actually.
I literally read that book 5-6 years ago, or however long. Like, that's crazy to me. I haven't read these. I never reread things. I'm bad.
We should pick this question. It's more the Infernal Devices talk, but I was freaking out whenever Sebastian was attacking the Institute, and then he didn't succeed in London, and I was like, oh my gosh, is it because? And I was freaking out.
Okay, was it Jessamine protecting the London Institute? I thought it was Tessa.
No, it's Jessamine.
Yeah,
She
remember
like,
she's a ghost?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and she was like, "I'll protect the institute," or whatever.
Yeah. And then someone, was it Magnus or someone was like, "Oh, I hope she's at peace now," or something like that. It was like later on. He said something about when they were talking about the institute, and I was like, "Oh my gosh." Yeah.
Yeah, because when they first mentioned it, they didn't say Jessamine name, and I was like,
Yeah.
does
No.
it have to do with Jessamine, or does it have to do with something that happens in TLH that we're not going to find out? But, yeah.
Is
but-
TLH taking place in London?
Yeah, because it's Will's children.
But does that mean they're in London, or is that by the time they move to America?
Oh,
They don't
yeah.
live in America. They live outside of London in like a town. I think.
Okay, so it is over there, though.
Yeah.
Good. Because we could use more British main characters.
Yeah.
What were you-
Problems with that.
What were your guys' thoughts on Church? With like, oh, sorry.
When Church
It keeps like cutting out, so then I like it comes back and then I
and they're
like
like,
interrupting.
when they're like, that cat doesn't like anyone, and it's like, what's up, brother Zachariah, pick him up.
Mhm.
Wait,
And,
can someone explain that to me? I know
That
that's
was
really
just everything with him. I just
Jem Church was Jem's cat when he was in the institute, and he only liked Jem. He did not like Will, and that's.
Yeah, but how is he still alive?
He's like, did he just steal a cat?
He was a demon cat. He was Mrs. Black's cat, and she's not a demon cat, but she spelled him to like live forever.
Okay, because literally I was reading this and I'm like, I know there's a cat named Church that has all these same attributes, but I have no idea how it would still be alive at this point.
Oh yeah, no, because he was in the Jason Clary Institute. So when we read the Infernal Devices, I was like, that's Church.
Yeah. No, that was the best. That was the best with like we've already talked about this over and over, but I still every single part with anything connected to the Infernal Devices, and Brother Zachariah comes out and he's like, oh my gosh, when did Brother Zachariah get hot?
And then the talk about the calendar, like the silent.
Alex, like, they sell those?
Oh, Isabel. I love
That
Isabel.
was one of my favorite lines, where it's like, when did Brother Zachariah get hot? Like, I was just like, yes!
When he became human again. No, they just said he was hot as a silent brother.
Okay, here's our next question. Magnus's father, thoughts?
I was just kind of disappointed.
Yeah, I kind of saw that coming. I seemed like the obvious choice. Like, oh yeah, okay. I was expecting like Lucifer, but I guess one of the princes of hell works too. I was hoping something like the son of like a fallen angel or something.
Yeah.
I guess that is kind of that.
Yeah.
I just thought his name was going to be more well known. Like we were going to be like, whoa.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I was also expecting more. Like, he was built up as like this scary villain for so long. Like Magnus's father, oh, don't mess with him. And then he shows up and he gives the kids exactly what they want for happily ever after. Like, yeah, Simon loses his memories, but he gets them back in the end, and it works out better for everyone.
Yeah, like everyone's still alive. Like, yeah, it didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that I think we all kind of, once they're like, Magnus started getting sick, which that part was really weird, but he was like, yeah, he's trying to get me to call on him. I think everyone knew, like, okay, obviously eventually he's gonna call on him, and then as it went on, I'm like, I know probably what's gonna happen. I mean, like, they're eventually going to have to call on him to do it. So that was kind of like obvious. But yeah, I kind of agree. It was a little bit like, I don't know. I mean, he's still like a scary dude. He can still, yeah, but I don't know. It was, yeah.
Do we think he's going to come into play in Dark Artifices maybe more? Like, the thing is, he was worked up a lot, yeah. And I thought that he was just going to play in a more important role. Like, he did not play, I don't think his role was very, like, interesting or, like...
Yeah.
You know, I think he will. I think he will, because when you think about it, the fairy...
Magnus broke the rules.
The fairy hallway dumped out into that demon realm. So it's kind of maybe the fairies and him are working together, and that could play into the Dark Artifices. So he could be the main villain in the next book.
He could, and he could get mad at Magnus.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see him built up more as a villain, because like he was built up as a villain for so long, and then he's kind of like this kind of selfish bad guy, but like not really doing anything that bad. Like
he's like just the crap.
And then at the end, yeah. And then at the end, someone said something like, "Do you think he's gonna, check in, like, because now he's like they've kind of not broken the rules a little. I mean, sorta with Simon, like with the memory thing." And he's like, "Oh, he has, bigger things to worry about." So I'm like, "That's it? Like, we don't have to worry about him?"
Come up again, because once Simon actually becomes a shadow hunter, he's protected by the clave, but. Hopefully we'll see him, ascend, because we haven't been to, an ascension ceremony.
Yeah.
I don't think we went to Sophie's, right? We just heard about it.
Yeah, I think we just heard
about it. That was, just wrapped up briefly in the epilogue, I think. It was she ascended.
Yeah. So I want to see.
I did want to say one thing, we talked about overall, the book and stuff, and I was really happy with the ending. But I'm so upset about how everything with, the fairy stuff took place. I'm so mad that, they're all broken up and, with, what's his name? Mark? No. What is the guy? Their brother.
Yeah, it's
part.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Stark family. Gotta get them all back together.
Yeah. I'm so upset that they totally and she promised them that she would not give up finding their brother, and then she's just like, okay, we give up, and Julian's just like, no, please. So
not only that, but the way that they freaking sent Helen away because she's part fairy, what? She helped them. She fought for them. It was so frustrating.
The stupidest thing is that Magnus, who's so much older than all of them, who has so much more wisdom, was telling them not to do this stuff because he's seen this over and over, and they still ignore him. I'm like, oh, Magnus is kind of crazy, but he's smart, and you need to listen to him because it's never going to work for them to just take away all their weapons and say, you can't have warriors anymore. It's going to come back, obviously, and yeah, that was the only part that I was just like, ugh.
Well, I know
it's a bias against the warlocks.
It was interesting.
So.
I was gonna say, I know kind of what she's doing, and she kind of worked to me. When I read this, I'm like, oh, this is just like the Treaty of Versailles, and it's just at the end of World War I with Germany. Sorry, can't help it. And so she's doing that, setting up the next book series with the fairies and stuff, because it's obviously going to go to shit, it's obviously not going to work out because you can't do that. It's shown in history, and I think that she's playing on that, and that's going to be the plot of the next book. All this racist, sort of nationalistic shadow hunter feeling, so it's going to be interesting, because it's all going to be about, blood and stuff,
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it because the whole political storylines are so interesting. We have our kick-ass shadow hunters fighting the demons, but then we have this really heavy political storyline where this entire race is being punished for what some have done and punished way too harshly, and you just know it's going to cause problems.
Do you see this? The highest rated question right now is Ariel's. How did you feel when Clary died?
And you should not be watching this live show.
Ariel, go away!
How did you feel when Clary died? Ariel! Ariel!
I was really happy. Just kidding. Just kidding. Actually, I would be really sad if Clary died.
Yeah, that would be very sad. Let's talk about the deaths for a minute. Who did you predict was going to die? Who actually died?
I got 4 out of 6.
Died?
Who died? I don't even remember. There was
I called Jordan and Raphael.
Those were
okay. The deaths were good. The deaths. I have the deaths memorized in order. First, we had Prater Scott. Did anyone have him on their list?
I didn't count him though.
He's not even.
He was the death of a named character. We knew him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what about? Are you counting Malorian?
Yeah, I'm counting Malorian. Next, we had Jordan. Then we had Merlioin, and then we had Raphael, and then we had Amatus, and then we had Sebastian.
I don't know. I felt like going
there's
into
someone
this
else.
I counted them as I went and wrote them down.
I didn't count Prater Scott, and I still had enough. Who did I think died? Oh my gosh.
I don't know, random? The guy, no, because he doesn't count. We didn't know who he was.
I'll have to look at my notes a little bit more to figure
That
out.
Maya guy doesn't count.
Oh, who was what's her face? The vampire marine or whatever? Did you count her?
Wait, that's who I was counting.
Wait, I counted her too, and I had 6. Wait, did I count someone twice?
Count her just now.
No, but I did count her on my list. I have her written down. What the fudge?
I
That
didn't
part
count
was pretty
Peter's
confusing.
spot.
I was like, what is happening? Why is she gonna let her, like, I mean, I knew, what, do you say Maya or Maya, whatever, I say Maya. Maya, whenever she's, like, doing the, like, they were gonna, I was pretty confused, but it was pretty crazy. That girl was just crazy. Have you guys all read Cress? Yes?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Made me think of, oh my gosh.
White, Snow White.
Yes.
Yeah.
She like puts it, it's like her pet. I was like, oh my gosh, she's crazy.
Yeah, I will say that's the one part of this story that I was slightly disappointed on because I found Maureen, what's her name? I found her character so interesting because she's so creepy. It's like a little child who's crazy town and so bloodthirsty. And I kind of wanted them to do a little more on like that storyline, the vampires in New York and stuff. And I feel like it was just sort of resolved a little too easily. I mean, like, Maureen killed Camille.
No, like, did that actually happen?
I don't think it did. It went over too easy. We didn't see it.
Okay, that makes sense if she's not dead. Because I was going to say, I'm like, if she was able to kill Camille, who's like one of the oldest vampires ever, how the heck did that kill Maureen?
That's
you know?
bullshit. She was working for Camille. You know, remember in the other one, she was Camille was helping her. So I think she looks like Camille is like a mother figure in a way.
I feel like she helped Camille fake her death, or maybe Camille just pulled it over on Maureen because Maureen wasn't too bright. Like, she had that whole, okay, I'll drink your blood to seal this deal, and then she instantly died.
You know what it kind of reminds me of? If anyone watched Orange is the New Black in like season 2, it's like the relationship between Crazy Eyes and V. Like, and she's like, you know, she's manipulating her into being this daughter figure.
Yeah, it really was. Especially because she's like so not completely there that she's easy to manipulate.
Yeah. I think that's
you know what I thought was ironic in terms of the deaths? The one I was saddest about was Sebastian's. Like, that whole thing that happened at the end, I was so sad. I was like, what the hell, Cassandra Clare? Don't make me feel bad that Sebastian is dying and his random, really nice boy is there all along. Like,
like, if he would have just died, we would have been like, okay, good. But the whole Jonathan part, like his green eyes, it was like her dream, like thing. I was like, oh my gosh, no! Her mom had to lose him like twice. I was like, what? I thought that was really sad. Like, what could have been, kind of thing.
It made it sad because otherwise everyone would be like, Sebastian's dead! Yeah, woohoo! But this is like, Sebastian's dead, but so is Jonathan and all the possibilities of who he could have been.
When I was reading it, I was like kind of laughing. like I was in so much shock when like he's like, I'm not Jonathan. I'm not Sebastian. I'm Jonathan. I was like, you gotta be effing kidding me right now.
I was at first I was like.
And then before, like, they're like, oh, shit, how do we end all this stuff that you started? And he's like, oh, no, before I die, let me just let you know how to fix everything I just effed up. First, throw this thing in here, do this, and, oh, sorry, but you're still stuck here. But, like, I gave you the best. Don't feel, I'm going to die now, but, like, don't feel bad for me. Don't feel bad. Like, okay, I don't.
Did you guys think the ending with, like, actually, speaking of, like, Sebastian dying, like, I had guessed that Clary would be the one to kill him. Like, did you guys guess that? Or did you, like, think someone like Jace or someone was going to kill him?
Christine and I talked about this a little bit. It was, that one scene where she got the sword, like, that felt kind of Harry Potter-y, and, like, her picking her wand or something. And when she got that sword, we were just like, she's going to be the one to kill Sebastian. Like, they both have the Morgenstern swords. Like, they're going to go against each other.
Didn't that seem a little like that was... Oh, no, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, in terms of like the wand thing, it's so true to even think about it, but it totally was. She went to like Ollivander, or why can't I say that? It's embarrassing. Like, dude, like, this is just for you, and guess what? It's free. Like,
And it's surprised she could, like, shoot out sparks when she picked it up. Like, whoa, it's her sword.
I still don't understand. Like, we all know Sebastian's a complex character, and he's not just, like, kind of like Valentine was a complex character, but I still don't understand. Like, he loves Clary so much, and he's just like, he gave her so many chances over and over. Like, obviously she wants to kill you. Why are you so stupid? Like, I understand that he just really wanted her by his side. Like, there's so much other stuff, but I still could not, like, over and over, and he just was like wanting her there as like the queen, which was creepy. But I mean, there's so much creepiness with that. But I mean, like, there's so many chances. It's just crazy.
Yeah. Well, it just goes back to, like, he doesn't know what love is. Like, I can't even, like, tell you how mad I was reading that, like, line when he was like, it doesn't matter if I'm allowed to hurt you. I just don't want other people hurting you.
Yeah.
You're mine.
That's a freak.
He's so twisted in his head. Like, that's what he thinks love is like owning another person against her will or not. Like, if she doesn't concede to it, he'll just make her drink from the infernal cup and, like, control her anyways. And that would make him happy still, because he's so twisted.
yeah. Oh, I have to give down, because we're talking about Simon, I have to give props to Cassandra Clare. Do you recall, like, after Sebastian broke into her house at the place the second time and, like, held her wrist and stuff, and then Jason Clare had that conversation about, like, how he assaulted her sexually or was going to, and he nicely weaved in, like, a social thing that's very current now. She's like, you know, like, oh, you know, you don't have to be ashamed, like, you should be able to talk about it, like, I don't look at you any differently. I was like, oh, nice one, Cassandra Clare.
Yeah.
Discussing, like, our rape culture and, like, la la la. I was like, I like that. Good job.
Yeah, I'm also really glad it was addressed, because in City of Lost Souls, like, it happened, and then we had the end of the book, and we never really, like, revisited that. So I'm glad it was addressed later on.
Yeah.
But it was super scary. Like, when she was against the wall and he, like, paralyzed her from the waist down, it was really, really scary.
Speaking of social, like, with Alec and his dad towards the end, I mean, they're not perfect now, but they said it was kind of like a step in the right direction. Like, what'd you guys think about when you heard the dad story about, like, his Parabati?
Parabati.
And then Magnus was like, oh, I knew him. I would have never guessed that. And, like, it was just, like, that was kind of interesting. That was something to think about. But it was really cool that he said he was a really good man and that he was, like, a better man he'll ever be, because Alec was like, oh, you know, I always wanted to be, like, the best warrior or whatever, but I never knew I wanted to be, like, a really good man, because we talked about how, like, Alec grew so much. So I kind of like that with him and his dad, because they have a lot of issues, like, they need to work out, but that was, like, a step that was nice.
Yeah.
I liked it. Like, it shows that it's not, like, everything is perfectly okay, but they're, like, they are okay, and they're heading in the right direction, and, like, his father isn't as, like, ashamed and resentful toward him, because I remember in City of Lost Souls, or maybe Fallen Angels, like, Alec was talking about how his father won't even acknowledge Magnus and, like, won't even talk to him, and is, like, constantly kind of putting him down for that, and it was nice to see them mending that relationship.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
You really have to give it to Cassandra Clare, like, putting in all these really socially, like, logical things, you know? I mean, I like that she has such a diverse cast of characters that have diverse issues that allows so many different people to relate to these characters in the book, and I'm glad that she portrays, for the most part, these things, like, really, like, realistically, and I like that she does that.
Yeah.
Like, Alec was the first gay main character I ever read in a young adult book, but I was also... Yeah.
She tackles topics that a lot of other authors stay away from, but she doesn't stay away from them. Like, she brings them to light. There's a transgender character in the Dark Artifices, and that's awesome.
Their daughter, right, Lucy?
Is it?
I thought it was.
I think it's someone new.
No, but she was a lesbian.
Maybe.
But she have kids. Remember we were doing research?
I feel like there's a transgender character though who was like born a man and then transitioned into a female.
No, but remember we were researching the necklace and we researched Lucy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's definitely a gay character.
Yeah, but she's not in the Dark Artifices.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the other one.
No, the Dark Artifices has a transgender character.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And what, did we meet them?
I don't think so yet. Cassandra Clare hasn't been saying a lot about her because she's like not fully fleshed out yet, so she hasn't been like sharing a lot of information. But yeah, she tackles all these topics that not a lot of other authors go for in a fantasy type book.
Yeah.
Like we get plenty of this contemporary realistic books, but we're dealing with like contemporary realistic issues and also demons, and that's awesome.
Do you guys remember? I can't keep all the children straight, but there was one boy that they said that he was special, and then Helen was like, when she was leaving, she's like, make sure and like you watch him, he's special. Like they don't like anything that's different, and then like he doesn't like anyone to touch him. Like there were like little signs throughout it, but that was another example. That was another example that she did that, and Julian like was supposed to like watch because he's super smart. Remember? Did you guys like pick up on that?
Yeah.
What is that, do you guys think? Like, I got the impression it was like an Asperger's kind of.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Like super intelligent, but socially,
Yeah.
But he only let his one sister like touch him, but he doesn't like any other, like he doesn't understand like emotional contact, like stuff like that. But he's really smart. And then it was like little pieces, but then at the end when she was leaving, that was so emotional. Whenever Julian's like, I'm gonna have to be a father, and I'm like, what? 11 or 12.
What about when Julian had to kill his father?
That's going to scar him, and it's going to come up a lot in the
Yes, and then his brother said that to him afterwards, like, you killed, like, he's never going to forget. I'm like, no, Julian was trying to protect him.
It wasn't your father anymore. Sebastian killed him.
No, as soon as it happened, like, that's his incident. Scarred for life.
What about the Parabati that had to kill his, like, in Darkened Parabati, and he's, like, crying, and then Jem goes to, like, you know, I couldn't have done that. Like, he admits, like, he couldn't have done that to Will, and so he goes and, like, pays his respects. I'm like, oh, my gosh.
No. Can you imagine if Will became a Darkened, and then we had...
No, that would never happen.
Just stop right there.
Like, Will would never get caught.
Yeah, but lots of emotional stuff. Oh, man.
Okay, we have another question here. What do you think about the missing Herondale thing? Cassie brought it up today on her Tumblr, and I had forgotten about it. I had forgotten about it, too.
I think it's Jace, because he just, like, figured out that he's Herondale.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there was some... We were going to learn a secret about someone... What was the Stephen Herondale theory?
Not
that he's Luke.
Not my theory.
There was a theory that like Stephen Herondale was still alive or something, but I don't remember too much about that. I don't think he's alive. I think Jace is just the Herondale now, and he and Clary are gonna start a new line of Herondales.
And it's so cool he has the ring now, thanks to Tessa. Like, she gave him all these little pieces. And then she gave her the book.
Yeah, the book with her, all her writing in it and stuff.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, here's a question. Christine said there was a spoiler on the poster at the back of the dust jacket.
Okay. The back of the dust jacket. We're looking at it and going down the line, and Simon has ruins all over him, and
so does Maya.
I know. Someone already pointed that out. I don't care. Simon ends up being a shadow hunter, so it does hint at it, because that's exactly what I thought. As soon as I saw it, I was like, well, it could be a binding ruin, but there's more than one. Also, everyone's on it except for Jordan.
Clary's not on it.
Who cares about Clary? We know she's not. They're subtle spoilers.
Simon's wearing his glasses. That's something that you can read into, since he hasn't been wearing them since he became a vampire.
Right.
Clary's not.
I don't know. This is more like a theorizing spoilers, whereas the Clockwork Princess one was like, yep, you're definitely spoiled.
Yeah. The thing is, anything can be a spoiler that hints at the thing, because if you're a person that like theorizes when you see things, you're gonna start theorizing toward that way.
Yeah. Like anything and everything is a spoiler.
Runes. Like Maya's not a shadow hunter.
Speaking
Maya-
of, can we talk about that Maya thing? Did anyone else not care about Jordan or Maya? Because I didn't. Not that I didn't care, but I also didn't care.
Yeah.
You know?
Every time I look back, I was like, okay, Maya,
Well,
you're cool.
compared to everything else, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like when Jordan died, I was like, eh. And
was
then
like,
like she also was like, eh.
I thought there was gonna be more drama there because I was convinced that Maya was pregnant and that's what she did with Jordan. And then he died and I was like, oh my god, she's gonna have to raise this werewolf baby on her own. But then she wasn't pregnant. She was planning to break up with him. And then she's kind of starting that relationship with
Bat.
I thought that was kind of weird.
It felt convenient to me.
Yeah.
Like, let's get Jordan out of the picture and let's set up this romance for the dark artifices.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with Maya, but I was so... It didn't make sense to me because she's like, well, I was going to break up with him, and oh my gosh, I can't believe he died, like, knowing a lie. I'm like, dude, he died happy. Yeah. You loved him. Why would you be like, actually, I was going to break up with you and then die? Like, I just kept thinking that. What is wrong with you?
But I also feel like...
Why did so he's happy, then he dies, and then you can deal with the guilt, like, your own self. I just didn't understand that part.
Yeah. I feel like she kind of dealt with it too quickly because, like, while she was going to break up with him, she didn't want him to die. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't know. I feel like she moved on a little too quickly. Like, come on, mourn a little bit longer, girlfriend. I mean, regardless of how you feel, you did know this guy for a long time. You claimed to love him, and now he's dead. So
yeah, it was weird because like she did claim to love him.
Yeah.
Like, and then it was like a really quick turnaround because like this is not a long period of time. So it's like they got back together, and like a week later, she was like, breaking up. Like,
yeah. Oh, I forgot about that.
Actually, I don't know.
And I was kind of when Jordan died. I mean, it was sad because it was like kind of shocking. You're like, oh, what's going on with the London Institute? Oh, the London Institute thing didn't happen. He's here. Then bam, Jordan's dead. But at the same time, I was like, I totally predicted Jordan was gonna die. Yes, I got it right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, like no one really died that I was like super upset about. Like nothing really broke my heart. Nothing like the Infernal Devices broke my soul and body and spirit. You know, like that destroyed me, and she I believed that. Like, no one in this book who died was like, oh god, I'm so sad. Like, if Magnus died, yes, that would have been the case. If any of the main characters died, that would have been the case. But, like, she only killed off, like, these barely even medium-sized characters in some cases.
Well,
which is
the thing
fine.
is, like, even in Infernal, like, there is that death, but then he's not dead.
Yeah, I know.
So like, she wraps it back again. Like, she's so good at this, like, devastating non-deaths.
Yeah.
Not only non-death, but like Simon loses his memories, but then he gets them back.
Yeah.
I just saw something I really want to talk to you guys. I'm so glad I didn't forget. Okay, Tessa though and Jem. Before it was like the perfect ending because with like her and like we already said there's gonna be spoilers for like Infernal Devices. So with her and Will and stuff, and he was mortal, and then now it's like Jem and her forever. Now Jem is not forever, and Tessa's still gonna be by herself, and I'm so upset. Like, why does Tessa have to be by herself? Like, why does she deserve that? Because she's been through so much, and now she's obviously happy for Jem, but now he's going to die also, and she's gonna be alone again. And I'm just like, why? Like, she has a tear. I mean, I don't know.
Maybe she'll do as well too, and she'll die with Jem.
Yeah, I have a solution.
Magnus never did.
That
maybe she'll kill herself like Romeo and Juliet.
So very much, but she should use the dark artifice and use it to reincarnate Will, and then
and have a nice little threesome and die together.
They can share, and we'll all be happy.
Cassandra Clare tackling the difficult topics.
Threesomes.
We're all about it, you know.
Threesomes in YA. Oh boy.
It wouldn't work.
Here's some stuff that we kind of already talked about. There's what do you think about the secret Simon project, and also what do you think about Simon being a shadow hunter? I think that's what the secret Simon project is about, like Simon's journey into shadow hunterness.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like it.
I like it because
I'm excited. I'm glad Simon's gonna be a shadow hunter.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. He's gonna marry Parvati with Clary, and they're gonna be badass.
Oh yeah! I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
That was great.
Yeah, so
like,
maybe, I don't know if you guys know this.
Her body.
Sorry.
What?
Izzy kind of got the crappiest end out of this deal. Like, she lost Simon, and yeah, they're kind of like maybe getting back together, but she's still like, she lost him, and it's just sad for Izzy.
It's sad, but she's gonna get him back.
Yeah, she'll get him back. And that's the thing that made me. What was I gonna say? Damn it! Damn it! Oh, I know. I was gonna say I'm really happy Simon became a shadow hunter because I didn't want him to go what Tessa has been going through. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Like, I was so happy for him and Izzy because Izzy has a hard time like opening up to people, and I'm so happy that they're together. But then the whole time in the back of my mind, I'm like, but he's immortal. She's gonna grow old and die, and he's still gonna be alive. But now, that's not the problem anymore. So everything's good.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think that Magnus and Tessa will just always remain best friends. So like they'll just have each other when when everyone's dead. Like I think those two will just remain like best friends, and then they'll just die like happy, just friends. And maybe they don't. Yeah, I don't know.
I kind of feel like at the end, once Jem dies, like Tessa, I can see her giving up her life and dying as well, like giving up her immortality.
Maybe she'll sacrifice herself for someone.
Yeah.
For Jem? What if she sacrifices herself for Jem so he could live the life he never got to live?
Well, no. I feel like
he's getting that now. Like he gets to have a life with her now.
Yeah.
But
yeah maybe.
What if
maybe Jem dies, and then she sacrifices herself for, like, Emma.
Yeah.
Or, like, I think Jem will live, and I think maybe she'll sacrifice herself for Jem, because even when he was alive, he was sick the whole time. Like, he never really got to exist or live the way he wanted to. And then he was a brother, so he never got to do anything either.
Yeah,
he never got to actually live. So will she die?
Cassie wouldn't do that one, because it's too sad.
I
don't think Cassie would do it because it's too sad.
That's tragic, man. That's tragic.
Cassie likes her happy endings. I think we would get a happy ending.
They'd either both die or like die together.
But didn't Jem kind of do that for Tessa? Didn't he purposely die? So kind of die when she became a silent brother, but so she could be happy and like live her life.
Yeah, it wasn't just for Tessa, though. It was because he didn't have a lot of options at that point.
He was already dying, right?
Yeah. True. Like, well, what if he's already dying? I'm making this crackpot theory. She's going to do the same. It's going to suck. And then Jem's going to date a random character in the...
No.
Oh my god. Hey, whenever Jem, like, he came back as himself, and then he was like, what'd she say? Do you have someone else? And he's like, she's always been there for me. Or no, what does he say? Dang it, I tweeted it. I posted, like, it was so sweet when he was talking about Tessa, like, she's always been there or something. And it was really sad, though. You were talking about how in his human life, like, he never was, like, 100% because of, like, all of that stuff. And then as, like, a silent brother, once he's, like, back, he's like a shadow hunter, he was talking about how his emotions were like so raw and like everything was kind of dull as a silent brother, and that was so just like everything crashed down on him, so like he separated himself for a while, and that was pretty emotional as well.
Yeah.
I wonder what that line was.
Okay, I got a new question here. Do you have a favorite quote or just something that stood out in your memory?
I have a lot of favorite quotes.
Yeah, let's just scroll through these, shall we?
Okay, I guess my most feels one, I think, and this is probably the one that kind of like epitomizes the book when I recall back to the book, is when Jem and Tessa were at the wedding and they were talking about Jace and how he reminded them of Will, and it kind of made me just really happy because I was like, well, he's still there, like he's a Herondale, like he's living on, like everyone's happy. So that's my favorite, I think.
The funny one that I liked, like I talked about this in my review, so it's just like repetitive now, but like I loved when this is like when Simon was drunk off of the blood, and they were like just like hollering outside, and Alex like, are you early Christmas caroling? Like what's going on out there? Yeah. Like, why would you ever think that, you idiot? Like you're an Idris, this is a life or death situation, and they're out Christmas caroling. Like, and
what
then,
about?
Oh,
what about whenever Jace and Jace and Alec, they were talking? It was like whenever they were talking about, you know, you love me, and then he's like, I think they'll probably put that on my gravestone. He was heterosexual and had low expectations.
I got that on my video, but I said that one too. I love that.
That was funny.
It's so funny.
And like I like the serious one. I liked a lot of things Magnus said. I liked a lot, and I liked how I also talked about this in the review. I liked his one about like how new things are usually temporary and break your heart, and it was just so like, oh, Magnus.
Here is the quote. It was, there is one, she has always been home for me. That was the quote that Jem said about Tessa.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for me it was kind of ones that I've already mentioned. Like the funniest part for me was when Alec, Jace, and Simon were joking about like the sexy vampire biting. I was just like, this is amazing. And the emotional one was probably that line where Jem, once he was Jem again, was like talking to Jace and was like, you remembered me? Like you thought about me?
Yes.
I was like, yeah, he did. Oh.
There are always so many great lines in Cassie's books.
We've already talked about when Simon, it was like because he was being her romance novel slave.
Yeah.
Pants.
That was the best. Like, what are you wearing? And she like ripped it off of him or something.
Yeah.
And they were doing that like role play.
Oh, Lord Montgomery.
Yeah.
And then Alec walked in and I cried from laughter. Because Alec walking in on everything was just so funny to me.
Yeah, and then like later on, Simon was like, well, no Mr. Montgomery stuff because who knows who can walk in on us, and then of course Alec does.
I'm surprised no one walked in on Jason Clary.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
They go off for a while, and then all of this heavenly fire starts exploding everywhere. Like, someone might want to check up on them.
Oh, man.
Okay, I cut this out in my review, but I had this whole rant about how the City of Heavenly Fire, not the Heavenly Fire scene, when he explodes into that pillar of fire, right? The scene, they tried to portray that in the trailer, and it is the most beautiful portrayal. It's literally a little circle of fire around them that Clary, like, hops over. And I'm like, why did you even try to do that? Like, you didn't do it at all. It's so stupid.
I literally visualized that stupid book trailer anytime it kind of like the book matched it, and I just got mad because I was like, no, this is stupid. Like
you did it so poorly.
And I never normally even watch the book trailers because they're usually, I mean, I'm sorry if you guys like them, but I usually think they're so stupid. So, but I did watch this one, and so like whenever they were kissing, he had like his hands on the wall. I was like thinking of that from the book trailer. I'm like, gosh, get out of my head. This is terrible.
I even hate like knowing like movies infiltrating like characters. Like I was so scared that Jamie Bow or whatever the hell his name is was gonna be Jace in my head, and it wasn't. Thank God. But I was so nervous. That's not Jace at all. Okay, the only character that did stay, Simon, the guy who played Simon in the movie, I love him. So I was like, he's the perfect Simon. Like, stay a while in my head. It's cool.
He didn't even stay in mine. I was flipping through the channels and the Mortal Instruments movie was on, and like I watched the beginning part, and then I saw Jace, and I was like, I can't do this switch. Like I can't even look at him. I can't look at Jamie.
I'm just glad I'm not alone because I don't want to. Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, who thought that was a good idea? If anything, Jamie, I can't even say his name. Jamie, he looks more like a fairy. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. He could be Mark. He'd be a great Mark.
I'm just glad I'm not the only one that doesn't like
Jace.
Agree.
He's like scary looking, and I don't like him.
He's so thin. I remember
He's not built enough to be Jace.
I know. Remember the scene in the movie where like Claire walks in on him shirtless and she's all like flustered? I was like, no, I'd be concerned and I'd take him to a hospital because he looks like a skeleton.
Like he's fine in Harry Potter and he's in Sweeney Todd and he like fits that, but not this movie at all. Not in this world. Not as a shadow hunter.
No.
As a fairy, he'd be fine. He doesn't look like the 6 ginormous built Jace that was what?
No. He was too old too. Like he looked older, and I hated it.
Oh, so okay, this next question, I was gonna ask you guys about this. I was a little confused about Jace's dream. Now, Clary kind of did, I think, a good job of explaining it, like how the demon like doesn't know exactly what's in our heads, but it was definitely emotional. Like Clary's was emotional, and then Simon's was a little upsetting because I really like Isabel and Simon together. So I was a little upset. It's like the last book, and it's still Clary in this dream. I'm like, no, go away, Clary. And I don't know. What do you guys think of all the dreams, though?
I was thrown off when I first started reading them. I was like, really? We're gonna see every single person's dream right now?
I thought that too. Yeah.
Yeah. But like I guess that's part of the demon thing. Like he doesn't know he's not like updated. I feel like he just looks in the bank and there's so much Clary that he's just like Clary. But yeah, Jason's dream. What was it? Was like him ruling with Sebastian.
Him in Sebastian's position.
And they were in a cage. And he was fine with that.
I mean, it makes sense like how she explained it. Like the demons looking at like his deepest desires at like a and almost like not animalistic, but like at their purest, not even their purest, like at their base desires. And his base desires is like he wants to have everything in control and he wants like power in a way. Like he wants to be able to have power. I mean, that's why he trains and stuff, and he wants to protect what he loves. That's why we're in a cage. So.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's also the influence of being raised by Valentine. Like, Jace has changed so much from the beginning, where he's like, you know, to love something is to let it hurt you, and now he's like really evolved beyond that. But if this like demon dreamscape thing is going from like the core of a person, then Jace was so set in his ways for so long. Like, it's not surprising that that's what the demon latched onto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say that
I liked the dreamscapes though. It was interesting to see like everyone's happy time and like what ruined it.
I liked Izzy.
Yeah, Izzy's was good.
It was really nice.
I think that we already talked about like with Jonathan and Sebastian. I think that seeing that dream, what we talked about, how he was sad, like what he could have been, that kind of was. That added to it. I feel like if we wouldn't have had that dream, I don't think I would have been as like, oh, like whatever, just kill him, like he's terrible. But because we saw him like with the little girl, I was like, oh, like that kind of added, I feel like a little bit more. Like Cassandra Clare purposefully put that in there to make.
I feel like that's why we had
Jonathan.
Like that's why she did the dreams for that reason.
Yeah.
Here's a connected question. Like, did you have any sympathy at all for Jonathan? And that definitely, it made us have sympathy for him because we saw him as an actual person of like who he could have been instead of just evil Sebastian.
I still didn't. I was just like, bye.
I will say, one of the hard things I had a hard time like believing, I guess, was Clary's Joselyn. Yeah, Joselyn's like extreme hatred towards Sebastian. Like, I get it, but at the same time, it was hard for me to be like, man, I don't know. It was just hard because like Clary struggled with the whole brother thing for a little while, and I feel like Joselyn never did. I realized that wasn't her son because it wasn't Jonathan. But like, how long? I mean, like even when he was a baby, like she claims that she knew, but how do you really know until, you know?
I guess it was like demise or something.
Yeah, but he had like black eyes, and like she could tell like his soul was just like, and I think it just like disturbed her to know. Yeah, he didn't cry like a normal baby. He didn't act like a normal baby. I think it disturbed her to know like she made that. Like it was obviously with Valentine, like, but she was the one that like brought that into the world, and I think she's just like, I don't know. It's definitely yeah, a lot goes into it, but
I think she was kind of really weighed down by the guilt of being the person who put this person on Earth, and like I think that's what was projecting this hatred. Like, inside, I don't think she actually really can fully hate her own child, but I think like it's just like she felt the need to like portray this hatred because there's all this guilt on her.
That makes sense.
I also feel like we don't see the entire situation. Like we hear a little bit about it, but this is why we need at least a single book of the circle and what happened there, so we can actually see, like, I'm sure there were some triggering events that made Joselyn realize, like, I'm sure she tried to love Sebastian, but, like, she couldn't for some reasons that we didn't fully get to see.
Also, Sebastian, I think maybe she hates him because of the whole, like, we've already talked about, like, what Jonathan could it be. Like, he stole away her child, sort of. Like, she should have, like, you know, she's a good person. Like, she should have had a good son that, like, you know, would love her back and would actually know what love is. And I think she kind of hates Sebastian in a way because, like, he is this, like, I wonder how, I guess we'll see if she's in the other one. But what?
I need to ask, because I think you guys are more, like, up to date on the lore. Was it just that he put demon blood inside of her until, like, it became part demon, or was it, like, some sort of deal with a demon, so it was actually a demon?
Lilith,
you know?
Valentine raised Lilith, and she gave him some of her blood for the baby, and he mixed these tonics for
It wasn't regular blood. It wasn't just like regular demon blood. Like, it was one of the most powerful, greater blood.
Yeah, I was just curious. Like, so couldn't you almost argue, I'm just playing like devil's advocate here, could you almost, I'm curious, because Sebastian was raised by Valentine, so was he a product of the environment mixed with his heritage, or was he just straight evil from the beginning? You know what I mean? So that's kind of what
evil because Valentine didn't even like him. Like,
Valentine thought he was too evil.
Okay.
And they mentioned that in this book about how, like how they kind of compared like Jace and him, but that's really interesting. One thing about I heard Christine mention this in her video. I wish we would have found out like what angel those wings came from, because we never found out at the end of the City of Lost Souls.
I wonder if we'll run into a wingless angel just chilling around the London Institute.
Maybe that'll be
like Angel Fall. Isn't that how that book begins? I haven't read that.
Yeah, just like Angel Fall. Maybe he'll go on a quest.
I'm also thinking of Daughter of Smoke and Bone.
I haven't read that either. Both of those.
Just get on it!
So good. I haven't read the last one yet, so I'm so scared.
I haven't read the last one yet either.
I can't believe you guys haven't read Dreams of Gods and Monsters.
I have a reason. I don't even want to talk about it.
Well, I definitely take your guys' recommendations, because it seems like most of us, like, we all kind of like the same thing. Like, there's never been a book that you guys really liked, and I'm like, oh, I hated that so much. So I want to, really bad.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what we should have? I just had this in my brains. We should have an Air of Fire live show.
I was almost about to say something.
I'm already thinking about that. Yeah, I mean, it's not
guys. I know we can have this in the live show, but it was like the best of the three. You have to read it, and you all three have it, so you must read it.
I was like, ah.
Yes, you already finished Air of Fire,
and I don't want to read it.
I finished it in 2 days.
Like I have an arc, but I don't want to read it. Like, I want to wait for some reason. Like, I want to wait till the anticipation's actually gonna kill me. You know what I mean? And like, I have the finished copy, and it's beautiful, and I just cry like opening the front cover. I don't know. Like, that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, the thing is, I want to have time to be able to book talk it, and right now, like, UConn's in 5 seconds. So
exactly.
Well, I'm gonna reread the books before like the 4th one comes out, and then I still haven't read the Assassin's Blade, so I'm gonna read that. But so much happens. I want to reread them.
I don't know if I can have the same feels. I haven't read the Assassin's Blade either, and I want to read that.
Oh my gosh, you guys, what are you doing with your lives?
No, I purposely waited. Okay? I purposely waited. I was not about to read The Assassin's Blade with 6 months till I had to read Air of Fire. I couldn't
Same
do
here.
that.
But the
I was like,
Assassin's
well, I'll
Blade,
spread it out.
I feel like the Assassin's Blade is best to read before Crown of Midnight, even.
Oh,
like
crap.
you read it in
Really?
between books
Well,
1
I
and
read
2.
Crown of Midnight when it came out, so I mean, I don't know. I just don't know. I know there's gonna be Sam Fields, and I know it's just gonna be too much, and it's just
Not
gonna
only is there Sam Fields, but you learn so much. Who's the assassin? What's the assassin leader name?
His name is something. I don't
With
remember.
an A?
Yeah, with an A.
Arobin. Yeah, Arobin or something like that.
Oh, okay.
You learn about him, and I feel like he's going to come into play later. And
Okay.
Don't say anything, Jess.
Fire then. I'm the only one that has. Oh my gosh. Okay. I can't say anything, and I'm not going
Don't
to.
you
I love
even?
you guys. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but like that is like my favorite book of the year. I read it in like 2 days. I read it at work. Like it was terrible. It was
I
so.
know
good.
it's gonna be amazing.
Oh. But I'm
I
gonna
know.
read them again, and I know we need to continue on with the questions. But it was just everything I wanted, and so good. Maureen, I was like boxing her the whole time, just like screaming. And then Sarah J. Maas was like tweeting me because like she made a Pinterest board, and I was like scrolling through like, what does this mean? Because it's for the whole series. She has pictures like, oh, book 5, 6. So I was like tweeting her, and she was just like, ha ha ha. Like she wouldn't answer obviously, but I just cannot like, wait. I can't wait till you guys read them so I can talk about them with you guys.
And you know she has another series coming out too. It comes out in January.
yeah, next year. It's like a new
found out about
adult
that.
series.
I love Sarah J. Maas. She's
Yeah.
my Lainey Taylor and Sarah J. Maas are my favorite. Melina Marchetta. Cinema. Okay, too many. There's too many, but she's definitely one of my favorite young adult fantasy writers. She's really good.
Do we want to set a time like when we're gonna end the show? So like we know when the question.
Yeah, let's do like get any final questions you might have in, and we'll try to answer a couple more Mortal Instruments related questions.
Yeah,
So
we want to do like 9:40.
that sounds good. Yeah, about 20 more minutes. So
Okay.
get the questions in. Here's not a question, but I just thought it was funny. Simon Bloodstick. Simon.
Haven. What is gonna be his Shadowhunter name? Because he has to pick one.
Yeah, I hope it's Bloodstick.
I hope it's gonna be a really funny scene. He's gonna be talking about which one to pick, and they're gonna try to talk about different things, and it's gonna be funny.
That'll be good.
I hope he picks a girl's name for lulz. It won't make
What if
any
he
sense.
picks Arendelle just because he wants to be related?
Wait, no, maybe I bet Claire will be like, you could have my name. Like, you can be
Frey.
Frey. Is
Well,
that
it would
can it?
be Fairchild, right? Because it has
Yeah,
to be
Fairchild.
Shadowhunter name.
But that'd be dumb. I don't think you can pick one that's already in existence. I think you have to create a new family.
Yeah, I actually read this on Cassie Clare's Tumblr. Like, even if Jace hadn't chosen the name Herondale, no one else would be able to choose Herondale for at least a while, like until the name like is really gone, and then they bring it back.
Interesting.
Interesting. But
Here's an
Next year
interesting
we kinda
question
answer.
about the forbidden love aspect in the Dark Artifices, the whole pair body thing.
It's the best kind of love, okay? Come on, tension. It's great to read about.
it's gonna be really fun to read about.
Not
That'd be
only
fun.
that, we've gotten so many hints throughout the books that like the whole pair body system is like inherently flawed. Like
Yeah.
it's not a great system, and
Maybe they'll change it.
yeah, I think they're gonna change it. I think like revolutionizing the pair body system is gonna be part of it.
Because there's
Like,
that
why
other
can't you
couple.
marry your pair body? Like,
Wasn't
why
there a
not?
couple that was in love with each other that were parabati in the Infernal Devices we talked about briefly?
Yeah. I thought I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that too. And then they kill themselves. One of them killed
yeah,
themselves.
they couldn't be together.
Yeah.
Oh, so tragic. Oh.
Romeo and Juliet kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder if they were like related to Emma and Julian somehow, so it's like a second chance at like
No, they very well might be. Maybe it
You
was a
never
black.
know. And then, knowing it's under Claire,
everyone's related to everyone. The family tree is so complicated.
I
Yeah.
know, it's confusing. Like, I'm not even going to lie. Like, they'll say last names, and I'm like, I don't know who you are. I don't know where you come from, but it's cool.
because their families. There's not only so many families. Like
So many people. Like, I know the main ones: Herondale, Carsters, Lightwoods, Fairchild, I guess.
Morgenstern.
That one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we know a lot of last names now.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't remember who besides the Lightwoods, the three main ones that came from the Infernal Devices. Like, were Fairchilds in the Infernal Devices? I don't even remember.
That's why Charlotte Fairchild.
Oh,
yeah.
She's descendant of Charlotte and Henry.
Okay.
The red hair.
Okay.
Remember Henry
Okay.
has red hair?
Yeah,
I loved Henry.
they took her name.
He's like Mr. Weasley.
Yeah.
The boss move. Boss move right there.
Okay, here's a question. What death was the saddest for you?
Hmm.
Will
Most of the
Heron
deaths-
death.
Four.
I agree with Ariel. It's probably Clary.
I guess Simon's memory death was.
Yeah, Simon's memory
Yeah,
death
that's
was
true.
maybe
I guess
the Raphael one was made to be kind of sad because like at first I was like I want Raphael to die, but then I thought he was a good person, and when Simon like felt him die, I was like, oh, that is.
Oh my gosh. And then I think it was Jace asked him, like, wasn't he the one that, like, sired you? And then he's like, yeah, why? He's like, oh, never mind. Because, like, Jace knew Raphael must have just died whenever he, like, his, like, chest. Because, remember, Raphael in the past was like, oh, yeah, well, once that, Mark's gone, blah, 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 like, your Shadowhunter friends are gone, we're going to kill you, all this stuff. So we don't really, like him too much. But in this book, she made us have these feelings, like, learning about Magnus, like, how his mother, like, I don't know. Yeah, that was probably one of the more sad ones, I'd say.
Yeah,
for me too.
it's weird. When it comes to Raphael, I've always kind of liked him for some reason. Like, I've always really wanted to like Raphael, and I was really sad because I was actually.
I mean, he was complex from the beginning.
I was gonna say, I'm hoping for this book that he would have a bigger part, maybe like the Dark Artifice or something, and then he died, and I was sad.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, that was probably the saddest one.
I know that story where his life is saved is one of the Bane Chronicle stories. But the whole thing with Raphael, like Luke said that he's like Loki, and I think that's like really, really true. That he's always just like looking after himself. So he'll switch sides. So I didn't like him being around. Like I was ready for him to die. Like I do like try to like him, but then he just like will turn his back the second it's convenient for him.
That's true.
Like, if you think about it, a second ago he was going to join Sebastian. Like, he legitimately was going to. And then because he was like, kill Magnus, he's like, oh, sorry, I can't do that because he saved my life once. Literally, he would have done it. So I didn't care. Like,
what if he would have said kill Luke? He probably would have done it because.
Yeah, he probably would have.
Yeah.
True.
But that's exactly why Sebastian wouldn't have told him to kill Luke, because Magnus was the more difficult person to kill. Like, he knew they had a history.
Well, why didn't Sebastian just kill Magnus if he wanted Magnus dead? That's sometimes I don't get.
He didn't want to kill Magnus. He wanted to play games because he's a sick son of a bitch.
Okay.
That was another question that was kind of in here is like, how did you feel about the fact that none of like the really main characters died? And like I was sure a main character was gonna die. Like even Joselyn or Luke. Like I'm really surprised they both lived.
I was so mad. I wanted them all to die.
I didn't want them to die, but at the same time, I kind of wanted Cassandra Clare to do something a little ballsy in that sense. Like, young adults is kind of known. I'm not saying all series. There's very well-known series that don't wrap everything up in a bow. But I'm just saying, I like it when they kind of don't do what you expect, to kill someone maybe a little sad. I mean, she did it in City of Glass. She killed, what's-his-face?
Max.
And that was sad. That was really, really sad. So I was hoping, not really hoping, but I was thinking it'd be kind of cool if she did something tragic. And it was tragic.
Again, though, Max wasn't that sad, though. We didn't even know him, really.
I know, I cried.
It was sad, but it wasn't like, oh, I'm mourning for that character. We are more sad for the Lightwoods left behind.
Sad for your character.
Yeah. Right.
Like, you could have killed a parent, because, like, the whole generation thing is you're moving on to the next generation. So it could have, like, like, what if she, like, think how tragic it would have been if Alex's father died, you know, before
But then
they
we
had.
wouldn't get to see about Morse. We need.
Maybe we would. Maybe the secret would come out then.
Yeah.
Well,
I think Joselyn should have died. Like, Sebastian hated her and had her right there. Like, he should have killed Joselyn.
maybe they'll die in the next series. Like, maybe she'll wait till the end of the Shadowhunter series to kill big characters off. 'Cause
Maybe.
maybe they play a part. Maybe they play a part in the next books, you know?
It's true, because she's not even close to being done, so they have a while. A lot of them, yeah, we'll still see them around.
They're gonna be like 80 by the time. They're gonna die of like natural causes by the time she's done with this series. It's gonna be like, they had a heart attack at the age of 84, and Clary died peacefully in her sleep after having 15 grandchildren. Like,
See, I was talking about this with Natasha, and like I do, and she made a really good point. Like, if they're not the main characters of the book, like I could see Jocelyn dying in TDA when she's not like the main character's mom. You know, and she'd be more comfortable killing off characters we know. But since they're in the background now, it's not as big of a blow. You know?
yeah. But it's good to have a big blow it's good to have an emotional, troublesome every once in a while. Keeps things fresh, keeps things interesting. As long as it's not Magnus.
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't completely perfect.
Devastating. Like, it doesn't have to be frickin' Jace dying, but like you could have had a more impactful death. Like, none of us really cared that Jordan died or Raphael died or Maureen died. Like, we were just like, okay, counting off the deaths as they happen.
Yeah.
Is that 6? We're good. Okay.
The Lightwood parents maybe at the end or something. You know, I don't know how that would have happened. And then
But she did.
And Alex would have this, like, maybe he found a letter that his father wrote after he died saying how proud he was of him, actually. And that would have been super sad in character building.
The thing is, like, Cassandra Clare doesn't just, like, she does still have the tension there to where, like, okay, Isabel got hurt, and you're like, no, you better not kill her. Like, she does have this stuff thrown in, and, like, with Simon, that was a big part. I mean, he's not dead, but everything about him and all of his memories were taken away. So she finds way to, like, make the majority of people happy with these happy endings, but she still does throw some, like, crap in there for sure.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I like it because I'm someone that like happy endings, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like happy endings too, but at this point it's going to get slightly predictable as she continues on if she doesn't do something that's not expected, because at this point we've had 3 series endings. I'll say 3 because City of Glass also ended, and there was kind of everything was always tied up really nicely. So now reading the next ones, I'm going to assume that it's going to be tied up really nicely, and I'm not going to be as stressed out.
Well,
I think the reason that I love the Infernal Devices so much is because there was actual, like, angst and pain at the end.
Yeah.
Even though Jem didn't actually die, like, he is separated from them, like, he kind of died. Like, he died from their lives. And that was sad. Like, that was heartbreaking that they're all separate. And
and you saw Tessa's pain at the end after Will died.
Yeah.
And, like, whatever she does, though, she always does it in an unexpected way. Like, you never know exactly how they're going to wrap it up. And I do think that, like, once we get towards the end of everything, we will see more deaths. Like, I do think that she will save them for, like, when she's done with these series.
Yeah.
Reagan.
I hope so.
She's probably saying you have Reagan, so now you're getting comfortable, and then she's going to, like, kill a bunch of people and shock you.
Yeah.
I think in the first book, in The Dark Artifice, is like, Clary dies. What?
She died in a, like, subway accident back in New York.
Like, all in her master, like, plot.
Shadowhunter-y, like, oh, Clary got hit by a car. What?
That's what you get for not looking both ways before you cross the street, Clary.
Let's see you draw one.
Okay, I guess we could look for a couple last questions.
Take one more question.
Rank the books of the TMI and TID series in order of, they say least favorite to favorite, but we can do it whatever way you want. Like, how would you rank these books?
I have my list already. I have Prince, Princess, Glass, Fallen Angels, Lost Souls, Oh, I forgot Angel. Yeah, then Angel, and then what am I missing? Ashes, and then Bones.
Mine are the 3 Infernal Devices, like, first. So probably Prince,
Oh, I forgot
Princess,
City of
Angel.
Fire.
What? Oh.
City of Heavenly Fire.
Oh.
Comes after City of Glass for me.
Well, I think that I like the 3 Infernal, like, first, and then it's like the Mortal Instruments. I don't know which is my favorite though. I don't know if it's like I really like City of Ashes and Glass, and then maybe City of Heavenly Fire, and then City of Lost Souls and City of Fallen Angels were like my least favorite of like the entire series. I don't know why. I did not like. I had a lot of problems with the 4th and 5th book. I still liked them, but just in comparison to the others. But what about you guys?
For me, Clockwork Princess, like, way above everything else. Like, that was the best. And then Clockwork Prince, that was also really high up there. Then City of Glass, then Clockwork Angel. Because randomly, I thought the first 200 pages, that was, like, real cheesy. I don't know why. I think it was, like, the Miss Dark and the Miss Evil. Like, I was like, okay, it's a little heavy on the...
Yeah.
I was like, it's a little heavy on the obvious kind of evil character thing. That I didn't like that, but after that, I really liked it. Then Cough, then Ashes, Bones, Fallen Angels. Oh, I forgot Saul's Lost Souls. Fallen Angels is last, then City of Lost Souls right before that.
I'm
Pretty
surprised that you guys didn't like Lost Souls and Fallen Angels as much. Like, I loved those books. For me, the City of Bones and City of Ashes are at the bottom. Like, City of Bones is last, and then City of Ashes, and then... Oh, it's really difficult. It's so hard to rank these books.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Clockwork Princess is definitely my favorite. Probably Clockwork Prince, City of Heavenly Fire, City of Glass, Clockwork Angel, Fallen Angels, Lost Souls, Ashes, Bones.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
For the Fallen Angels Lost Souls, I really think that it's better when you take a break between the two series, like instead of marathoning them.
I think Christine and I talked about this before because Christine, like, you didn't know it was going to continue after City of Glass, and then so when you got a 4th book, you were so excited. Whereas like I just read these last year, all like marathon through them, and I think I had like I love the first 3 so much that I had the 4th like, oh, this one's gonna be the best, and I was so irritated by the whole Jace Cleary, like they wouldn't communicate. I just like I don't know. I just got really irritated. Also, I think, when did I read Clockwork Angel? Because I think I was comparing that as well, and I love Clockwork Angel so much that I think I didn't give it, like, a fair fight, like, with the Fallen Angels and City of Lost Souls. But, I mean, it's all redeemed itself. Like, I love, you know, it's such a good series. Like, this book was so good. I'm so glad it was big, and I'm happy with it.
Yeah. I had
like, when you marathon them... Oops, sorry.
I was going to say I had the opposite experience to Jess because I've read these at release since Glass, I think. Like, I've just been reading them for so long, and when I read City of Bones, City of Ashes, City of Glass, I was so much younger, and it was right after Twilight, and I loved them so much. Like, they were, like, my favorite. It was, like, the first young adult thing besides Twilight that I'd read, so it was, like, it's so close to my heart that way, and then when I found out that she was continuing it, I was so excited. And I was expecting to love it as much as I loved the first one. So when City of Fallen Angels came out, I don't know, maybe I was older, and I was like, eh. And I just didn't love it as much, and I was just disappointed. And it wasn't even that it was bad. I just wanted it to be as good as City of Glass. And I wanted
that's the thing. I think, like, City of Glass was a finale, and this was the start of the series again. So people are expecting the same level of excitement, but she's got to build a problem again.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I just was like, oh. But obviously, I love City of Fallen Angels. Heavenly Fire. Sorry, I get all the names mixed up at this point. But yeah, that's why with me. And then plus, I can't really budge City of Bones, City of Ashes because I just love them so much then that I just can't look at that, like, realistically. I'm just always going to really like them because it's just how it is. You know?
That's all the mindset in which you read the things. Like, that's how you end up liking them for.
Exactly, because, like, when I read City of Bones, Ashes, and Glass for the first time just last year, and since I've read so much other YA, like, it didn't stand out as especially awesome to me, like, until City of Glass, when I was like, okay, this book was really, really good. But the first few books, I was like, okay, these are good, but they're not, like, blowing me away like they have for other people. But there's a huge difference when you read the first few books when there's like 5 books in existence, and when you're reading it in 2006 when it gets published for the first time.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's what I had with the first 3 books. Like it was after Twilight. It was my after Twilight stage. Like you were
like too.
It was so good.
Yeah. It was exactly what you wanted, because you're like, I want another really good young adult series, and then you read it and you're like, yes.
All right. I have one last question that's not in the Q&A, but it was on the comments, and I thought it was an interesting one. Was there anything in particular that you were nervous for before the book came out?
Magnus dying. That's all I thought was going to happen. That was what I was nervous for.
I wasn't nervous. I was excited.
Yeah, I was nervous for a major character death. Like, we heard there were 6 people dying, and I was like, so some of those will be like minor characters we don't really care about, but at least a few of those are going to be like big deal characters that is going to be like a huge event. But that didn't happen.
Like, I trusted her, so I didn't think she was going to kill off everyone we love.
Yeah, I don't really think I was nervous. I think my excitement and everything just shadowed everything.
Yeah.
Like I was so excited, and then I felt terrible because I went out. I think Christine, you said you went out like 2 nights before. I went out 1 night before to Walmart, and I got it. But then I didn't start even reading it. I read because that was like right before BookCon and stuff.
Yeah.
And I barely had time, and then I got Air of Fire in my hands. I couldn't not read it. So then I felt bad, but I mean, it was only 2 days, so it was like, and I read this book in like 2 days. So I actually read like the majority of it really fast. But no, I wasn't really nervous. I mean, I guess, maybe I was nervous about like Magnus or someone dying, but I don't know. I was just so excited. I wasn't really nervous.
Yeah, I was excited.
I was nervous. I was convinced Cassie was going to kill off someone big. I was so worried.
Me too. And then I was nervous about being spoiled. That's why I read it before BookCon. I was like, I am not going anywhere. Getting spoiled.
Okay, I lied. I was nervous about being spoiled. That's what I was nervous about.
Yeah.
Because I waited, because after I waited, I'm like, I'm just asking for this now that I'm reading Air of Fire, which doesn't come out till September, and not a lot of people have read it. Why am I doing this to myself? But like once I started it, I couldn't put it down. But yeah, I was kind of nervous about that, so I try to stay away from like Twitter and everything, which obviously that's like easier said than done. But yeah.
Yeah, I was really nervous about being spoiled. Like, I was getting mad if anyone even, like, mentioned the book. Like, Kat sitting next to me reading the book is torturous.
I got kicked off the bed at one point. I wasn't even going to spoil you. She physically kicked off the bed while I was holding coffee, too.
It was a gentle push with my foot.
Oh, my God.
Someone says that there's going to be The Secret Treasons, which is a graphic novel about the Circle.
Oh,
that'd be cool.
Cassandra Jean, who does the really nice artwork and the tarot cards and whatnot, she is doing a graphic novel about the Circle. So we will learn. I have no idea when that is coming out, though.
Now we have hope for even more. That's a nice way to end it.
Yeah,
I'm excited for so many more.
I know. It's nice that this isn't the end. It's like the beginning, in a way.
The poster at the back of my book said that the end is just the beginning.
Yeah. It's so true.
Yeah,
we're eventually going to have, like, 2 full shelves of just,
Claire.
She's like the new... Oh, I have this poster, too. Look, poster.
Woo!
Yeah, I got that one.
I didn't get that. What the F?
It's in the Walmart version.
Yeah, when I bought it 45 minutes early at Walmart, this came with it.
My Walmart wouldn't give it to me. I seriously went there every day for like the week before the release trying to get it from them.
It's actually kind of a funny story. I went, it was like, Walmart's open all the time. It was like 11, so it was pretty late. And there was no one at Walmart at 11 o'clock at night besides me wandering around, like, trying to see if they had it out. And they were all just looking at me because they're stalking. And they're like, do you need help with anything? I was like, there's this book that comes out in an hour, and I was wondering if you could get it for me. And she's like, let me go look. And she comes back, and she's like, the box says it can't open till midnight, but I just like took it out and like put it on a shelf. So just like casually walk by and pick it up, and you should be fine. It was like a drug deal for City of Heavenly Fire in Walmart. Like, it was serious.
That's amazing.
So funny.
All right. It's.
I ended up like calling
now. What?
Yeah.
All
What?
right. Oh, I was gonna wrap this up unless you have something else to say.
Oh, sorry. No, you're good. Go ahead.
Okay, that concludes our City of Heavenly Fire live show discussion. So thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll put the links to everyone's channel down below so you can check them out if you would like to. And yeah, we'll probably be doing another live show pretty soon here because there are many books we all want to read and discuss. So yeah, that's it. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.